Good afternoon, my beloved friends. It is a great joy for me to be here right now to address you for a minute or two. Where this is your friend Carl, and I
Well,
have been given the privilege of being the master of ceremonies, if you want to call it that, to come into the instrument and to address and monitor things from the world of spirit, just as you have a moderator to help you in the physical world today. It is a great honor for me to do that. And of course, it was a no brainer to do it because of my association with the instrument and knowing his energy so well. It is easy for me to work with him and to kind of get him settled down for this endeavor. So, without much further ado, I will call for the first question.
thank you, Carl. This question is from Anne. In the book, The New Testament of Spiritualism by James Paget, many spirits who came through, including Jesus, commented on the doctrine of reincarnation, saying that it's impossible for a soul with its spirit body to re enter a physical body. Could you clarify whether or not there is such a thing as reincarnation?
The answer is very clear. The answer is yes, there is reincarnation. The problem that comes into it has to do with the dogmas and creeds and rules of certain religions, who, even with the religion that is most associated with what is happening today, the religion of spiritualism, they do not accept reincarnation because they are very, very concerned about proving everything that comes out of their medium's mouth. And you cannot prove reincarnation. So, since it cannot be proved evidentially, therefore they do not accept it. And that is truly their loss because they do not understand the full regulations and the rules of the universe. Yes, it is kind of infantile, I will say, to think that a person can come to the earth plane, live their lives, and have no opportunity to address their mistakes, and then they die and everything's over and it's done with. Well, how is one supposed to progress in that way? It is not possible. Reincarnation allows people to return to the spirit world and to have another experience and another go at it to try to correct the mistakes that they made in their previous lives. And therefore, it is all part of the grand system of trying to learn how to live a perfected life. And we are very much aware of the fact that not all people accept it. Part of the reason is, again, it is not accepted is because there's certain religions who want you to come to their church every week and put in your hard earned money in the plate every week. And if you were to learn and believe, well, I made a mistake, I sinned, and therefore I'll fix it in my next life and I don't have to go to church this week. That is what they're afraid of. They want you coming back. They want their coffers filled every single week because they don't want to go out and earn a living. They don't want to have to plow a field or run a tractor or work in a factory or teach at a school. No, all they want to do is to sit back and count their money that comes in every week and live a grand old life with the best of everything. So that is why they do not accept reincarnation. That is why the Catholic Church took out reincarnation from the Bible because Jesus talked about it. It was in there for quite a few centuries, but then they realized, this is a mistake. They can use this to stop coming to see us, and therefore they stopped and they erased that concept. So our answer to you is yes. Reincarnation exists. It is a prime principle of the universe. It is a way for you to have an experience, make mistakes, and come back and correct them and address them in another life. You cannot correct it in the world of spirit, because if you did, you know all the answers. You have access to everything. It's kind of like taking a test and having the answers ahead of time, and all you're doing is copying them down. What good is that? That won't show you what you know and what you don't know and what you need to study further on. The earth plane is a testing ground for you to see if you've learned your lessons, and address the mistakes that you have made. It's also a place where you reap the rewards of the good things that you've done, the karmic things. You will have certain good things coming towards you, to you, and therefore you can experience that in the earth plane.
Thank you. The next question is from Corrine. The question is, I'd like to know if the new world will teach life form, human, to work together for the best of mankind, or will there be a civil war between races before the changes to the new world? Thank you.
The question you are asking does not have a definite answer. Now, why you say that is a cop out and say that that's avoiding the issue, let me say to you that you must understand and come to the realization that your future is not set in stone. Your future is very much in a fluid state. Many things can happen, many things can influence the future, and therefore, since you are asking for a specific thing in the future, I cannot give you a specific answer. What I can say is that things can play out where there will be a major war between people before things settle down. But if we are lucky and an awakening happens, a spiritual awakening happens soon enough and quick enough to many people, to more people, then that can be avoided. I want you to go out today and take a walk in nature. You will start to see now flowers are beginning to bloom. I want you to predict exactly when the tulip will be in full bloom. Will it be in 2 days, 7 days, 14 days? Can you predict it? Can you know if the flower will bloom quickly or slowly? This is the type of question you've asked me. I cannot tell you that how fast and how many people will have a spiritual awakening and become more spiritual, so that that war that you are referencing can be avoided. I do not know how fast they will blossom into their spiritual awakening, just as you can't tell how fast the flower will grow. It is beyond anyone's control. So therefore, the answer to your question is, we are doing everything we can to not have that war that you're talking about. We are trying to inspire people to wake up, to have their spiritual awakening. We are aware that the earth's vibration is changing and increasing and becoming more and more spiritual. That in itself should hasten people's awakening. But will it? The sun touches the flower. Does that make it go faster? Does that make it open faster? We cannot tell the controls of this. So my answer to you is to understand that there are multiple possibilities in the future. And the ones that seers see is what they see at a particular point in time. That doesn't mean that things can't change before that point in time and their prediction will not happen. So without being caught in that trap of saying, oh, yes or no, I am telling you, I cannot answer your question. And I hope you have a deeper appreciation of why I cannot.
Thank you. Our next question is from Fenton. How do we discover our soul purpose for this lifetime?
My friend, what you need to do is to take some time and sit in the silence. If you go into the book of books, you will see that the prophet used to talk about a still small voice that guided him and informed him of what to do. And that still small voice was not in the wind, and it wasn't in the fire, and it wasn't in an earthquake. It was within himself. You, my friend, understand that your soul is residing within the center of your chest. You need to take the time to sit in the silence and ask your soul to reveal its purpose to you. Just as you may ask it to bring you a new job or to bring to you something else, you can ask it to bring you knowledge of what your soul purpose is. It may come in the form of a dream. It may come in the form of a vision that you suddenly have. It can come in many different ways. And if I were you, sir, I would not try to limit the method of its delivery. I would just ask for it to be revealed to you and allow your spirit to figure out the best way it is to impress its message upon you. And while I am addressing you, sir, I am really addressing everyone in this audience, because everyone who in this audience can do the same thing of sitting in the silence and contemplating. No, that's a bad word. Emptying your mind, allowing the stillness of your mind to exist and waiting for inspiration to come through, because it will. It will. It might not come while you're sitting there. It may come later. Your answer will come. The Lord God of your being will answer your question. You simply need to ask and to put energy into your asking. And when I said that you should sit in silence, you don't absolutely have to sit in silence. You can have some very peaceful music playing in the background if that aids you in your communication with self. It doesn't have to be silent, but you have to calm your mind. You have to empty your mind. You have to go into a somewhat altered state of consciousness to allow yourself to communicate with your soul and ask for it to happen.
Thank you. Our next question is from Joan. Will the bad storms and intense weather events around the planet start to slow down, even though we know most are man-induced?
Your planet is in a state of war. It's in a state of the forces of good fighting the forces of evil. You recognize that the forces, the negative forces, do have ways of controlling the weather, even though some people may feel that is a bit fantastical. It's not. So the answer to your question again lies within the awakening of the spiritual essence and knowledge within people. Because as that increases, the power and the abilities of the Ones who are working on the negative side of things will be diminished and can be overpowered because, as you must understand, the energy of good always triumphs over evil, provided there is enough good energy available. So eventually, yes, that will eventually will slow down, but it may take some time. It again depends on what will happen in the course of the next coming years and how people will react to this change of frequency and this change of energy. Some people will adjust to it easily, similar to a duck just swimming across the pond. They don't care if the temperature of the water is 32 degrees or 64 degrees or anything in between. They just swim. Some people will make very quick adjustments to the new spiritual energy. Other people will resist it. They will feel out of sorts. And a lot of that has to do with their own personal makeup, their own belief systems. For if they believe in very rigid ideas and everything is happening the way that they were taught it was going to happen, and they're very content with it, when major changes come, it's going to throw them out of sorts. So some people will have a very difficult time in the adjustment, other people will not. In the long run, yes, there will be less storms. There will be less planetary disturbances, if you want to call it that, and as the people get used to the new vibration.
Thank you. The next question is from Susan. Greetings. Can you please tell us about the options the soul has after it leaves the body? Can it be released from the reincarnation cycle, and how would that happen? Thank you so very much.
Your question is very interesting to us, but you must understand, my dear, that you are coming to ask that question from quite a advanced point of view, for you have been studying spirituality for quite some time and come to have understand that there are so many options. For people like you who have that understanding, who have that knowledge, yes, you can go into this world of spirit. And yes, you can have many options and many places to go and many dimensions to visit and many experiences to have that do not involve coming back into this physical plane. The option to come back and to reincarnate has quite a bit to do with the particular individual. For some people find themselves in a situation where the only way they can advance their soul is to come back and fix what's wrong, because they have a certain, if you want to use the word karma, that they have a certain commitment, there's a certain thing they have to accomplish that can only be done on the earth plane. Other people who do not have such karmic debts may have slighter things that can be worked out in the world of spirit or in other dimensions. So it is uh, a situation where a person comes to the realization that in order to advance, they must reincarnate because that happens to be what their options are. But another soul may not be in that place and not have faced that particular decision of going on to the physical world. They can go on to other dimensions, to other places, and continue their learning and their experiences there. So the answer you're seeking is a very individualized one, and one that um, a general answer can't. It's not a one size fit all answer. That's the best way I can say it. But yes, You do not have to come back to fix it, but some people have no other option.
Thank you. Our next question is from Peggy. There has been talk of a shift to the 5D consciousness, and I would like to know more about this. Is there a timeline for this to happen? Also, what does this mean to those who choose a 3D reality instead? Will there be a separation between those on the different levels of this new earth that is projected to be coming forth?
In reality, you are setting up a situation where there are two different camps. I'll use that word, the 3D camp and the 5D camp. The 3D camp can't deal with the 5D camp because they don't have the capability. The 5D camp can deal with the 3D camp because they understand where they're coming from. So, yes, there'll be two different groups of people. And the 5D camp, we are hoping, will have enough compassion in them to help the 2Ds along because they are not ready for that truth yet. How often have you heard that when the teacher is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear? That has to do with a certain amount of soul growth, a certain situation, certain vibrational things within one's soul. The 5D people will be able to do many magnificent things, many things that are beyond what people can think about if they're limited to the lower frequencies. It is going to be a one world situation. It is going to be a peaceful situation once everything gets sorted out. And the people who are stuck in 3D will have the option of learning how to access and to open themselves up to more spirituality and to become 5D, or they'll choose another route and escape to the spirit world and deal with their learning there. It is our hope that a peaceful transition can be made, that the 5D people will have compassion on their brothers and sisters because they will have the knowledge that we are all brothers and sisters, and they will help to educate them as best they can. But there'll be a certain portion who walk with their current beliefs and are so wedded to those current beliefs that they are so unyielding that they will not be able to grow. That it will come to a point where they can no longer tolerate what is happening around them because they will not understand it, or they will blame it on an evil force that they've been programmed to believe, and therefore will try to get out of it some way or another. So we are hoping for as much spiritual growth for as many people as possible.
Thank you. Our next question is from Carol Barna. I would like to ask Spirit to speak about multidimensions and when there is a time that they will align so that we can learn about this.
In a sense, that was what we were talking about in the last answer.
Mm.
When people who are realize that there are more than one dimension, and that they can go and they can talk and communicate with other dimensions, that they will come and unify and be able to help people who are more limited than they are at the time. The days to come, the years to come, they will be full of challenges for many, many people, because things are going to go into such radically different ways of thinking and ways of feeling. And the frequencies of the earth are going to be so very different than they were, say, 5, 10 years ago, that it will provide and cause much confusion. Furthermore, many of the institutions that you are talking about, the religious institutions, your political institutions, and so forth, are also going to be in a state of chaos, because they too must change in order to be in the new age of that is coming. And many of them do not want to change, for they are very power based, and they are into controlling people. So that will be very difficult. It is going to be interesting for you to watch, as you will recognize that some people have access to higher information, and uh, to lead you into what you are calling multidimensional communication, while other people will be totally baffled by it, and perhaps very easily not see it, because it is very easy to look at something, and if you don't have the comprehension and the knowledge of what it is, you actually don't see it. So they may be very content, and the people with who have better understandings will be yearning for more and more and more knowledge. So there may be a dichotomy of people pulling away of people, but again, it is our hope that the people with the deeper understandings will try to help those who need the education.
Thank you. Our next question is from Diane. If a loved one has passed a long time ago and they have returned for another lifetime, are you still able to receive messages from their spirit?
You are starting to approach some very complicated spiritual ideas there, because yes, the answer is yes. And the reason it is yes is because there is a certain amount of the soul that that remains in the spirit world, then, and the rest of it, and the majority of it, goes into a new physical form. But there is a certain amount, a certain residue that remains in the spirit world. And if the occasion arises where a person goes for a mediumistic reading, and that bit of energy comes forward, it can present itself strong enough so that it appears that the soul is actually in the spirit world communicating to you in the physical, but in actuality it's a small portion, and the rest of it is reincarnated somewhere else and having a new experience. So there is that possibility. It does happen, and therefore that should hopefully satisfy your question.
Thank you. The next question is from Barbara. I would like Spirit to explain how to do a healing for yourself if there is no healing circle available.
The question that you asked is a very good one, and you should actually have the answer already. For all you have to do is to go into, again, a quiet place. And again, that means you can play some music if you wish, and do exactly what you just did at the healing circle here. You sit down and you ask for the spirit doctors to come and work on you, and you visualize them standing behind you. If you comfortable with the laying on of hands technique, which I know you have seen, you can visualize them touching you and sending healing energy. You ask the divine being, however you want to address that, to allow the spirit doctors to work with you and to send you healing energy. The healing energy does emanate from the spirit world. It is you are what you are actually doing when you are sitting and doing the healing wheel that you did before this session. You are kind of adding your physical energy into that spiritual energy to help it manifest and heal your body. You can do the same thing. Everyone has healing energy within them. They just need to come forward and ask that it be used. So sit down, visualize yourselves, watch the energy, the healing column come down, fill your body with energy, ask for healing doctors to come and assist you. Watch each and every cell of your body absorb the blue energy and energize each cell and heal each cell. And know that it's going to happen. Know that it is working, and say, "So be it," and it is happening. So it is a process of that you are quite familiar with, my dear, and be be wise and use it well, for you have the ability. You have the healing abilities within yourself to begin with, and everyone who is in need of healing energy can reach out to the universe and ask for healing at any time.
Thank you. The next question is from Fenton. How long will it be before the general public can experience alien life forms?
We are then working with a question in the future, which means that it is not in concrete, and I cannot give a definite answer, but I can say this. As humanity becomes more spiritually aware and more spiritually enlightened, they are going to start to realize that there are fellow beings in the universe that are not exactly human, coming from other dimensions and other planets and so forth, who are here to help them. When the aliens, as you call them, can feel safe enough that they will not be attacked by the governments and by the people who want control, and the negative entities who wish to control people's minds and actions. When that has broken down enough, then they will feel safe to make their presence known. They will be coming in mass. They will be coming in masses and many, many ships. They will be lighting up your solar system. They will be lighting up the heavens, as you call them, with their light. And there will be no mistake of who they are. And although many people, because they have been programmed to fear these aliens, they may panic, but there is no real need to panic, because the people who are coming are the ones who want and are working for the benefit of humanity, the ones who are trying to inspire this new age as it is, who they are manipulating the atmosphere, they are manipulating the vibration, they are manipulating things so that people will become more spiritual and more accepting of each other, and wars will stop, and the weapons will no longer be made, and on and on and on. And this is coming, for this is your destiny. So yes, it is happening. I cannot give you a time, I cannot give you a date, but it is happening. But it will happen when enough of the negative forces that are controlling and working in your planet have been disarmed.
Thank you. The next question is from Joan. Since everyone experiences a different reality, can you explain more how it is that persons of like mind will come together for a common good?
Hmm. It will happen very naturally. Think about this. If you have a handful of metal paper clips in your left hand and a magnet in your right hand, and you put both of them down on the table, and you start to bring the magnet closer to the paper clips, eventually the magnetic pull will cause the clips to move forward and attach to the magnet. It's a natural law of magnetism. And in effect, your soul has that magnetic characteristic in it. So when the time is right, or you come into contact with a person that is of like mind, as you said, there is an automatic attraction, a magnetic pull, if you want to use that term, although it's not really magnetic pull, but it's a similar situation where all of a sudden you find yourself talking to this person that you've never met before, and you feel like you've known them all your life. Well, this is how it happens, and this is how it will continue to happen in the days to come. In the days to come, people will be, quote, attracted to you, unquote. They will all of a sudden, for a reason they can't understand or explain, they will approach you and start to ask you a question because you have the answers they are seeking. This is the way it's going to happen. And when that happens to you and someone comes and approaches you, it is of the utmost importance for you to remember, do not panic. Take a deep breath, calm your mind, listen. You only have to listen for about 2 seconds, and we will be there starting to put ideas in your mind and words in your mouth, and you will supply the person with the information that they need. The biggest thing to have to understand is if you suddenly say, "Oh my God, they want an answer from me. I don't know if I'm going to have the answer." Well, you start that panic reel going and that negative fear going. You are going to block our ability to communicate, and no answer will come forth. So it is important that you just take a breath, clear your mind, and all of a sudden you will be inspired to say something. Don't stop the flow. Just let it happen. Just let it talk. For we will put the words in your mouth and you will help people. And this is what we are talking about. Like-minded people will be finding each other for all different reasons, and you will be educating each other and helping each other because, as you know, every person has a different talent and every person has a different amount of knowledge and a different knowledge base. And therefore, what you may be lacking, you are automatically drawn to that person, and they are going to teach you about that specific thing. And you might be teaching them back on something, some other information that they do not have. And this is what is going to be happening in the days to come, because there are going to be many people who are disillusioned with their belief systems that they thought was real, that they believed 100% in their bodies that it was real without a shadow of doubt. It was real. It was the truth. And all of a sudden they realize it's not. And that turmoil, in that turmoil, they're going to be seeking people who can supply them with the truth. And all of you have the ability to do that.
Thank you. The next question is from Carol. There are many doctors speaking out against the vaccines, which actually modify our DNA. Their voices have been suppressed. For those who have taken the vaccines, will there be healing modalities to counteract the harmful long-term effects?
The simple answer to your question is yes, but those remedies do not exist at the moment. We are most aware of what has taken place on your planet and the misinformation that has been shoved down many people's throats. And we are truly saddened by that happened. But we understand the mass produced fear that was created, and therefore we understand why people have chosen to take those vaccines. We are working on ways to counteract that situation. Our chemists are working on that very strongly. And once we have produced this answer in the world of spirit, we will be inspiring certain scientists who are open minded and realize what has been happening to produce these remedies that will help to eradicate that situation and to return it back to the original state, or at least help to get it back to the original state as much as can be possible. We are still working on whether or not this can be completely reversed or just partially reversed. So we cannot give you that detail at this point because it has not been developed. The situation of these vaccines will take it will take some time being in the body to start to do what it was programmed to do. It's not an instantaneous thing, so there will take some time for this to take effect, and we are trying our best in order to compensate and find a remedy for it.
Thank you so much for your help. Our next question is from Luvera. Can you explain evolution?
Evolution is simply the realization that there is an always a better version of me available to be had, available to be created. And as man decided, and I shouldn't limit it just to men, because animals evolve too, as they decide or come to the realization that there is a need to change a certain characteristic of their physical body or physical abilities, they put that thought into the ether waves. They put it out there, and with enough energy, it will start to manifest. Now, certain things cannot be changed in the physical body of a human being or an animal. However, if they realize there is a need for it, and then they go and reproduce, that thought changes the DNA process in the newborn body of whatever animal it is, and that newborn baby will have that skill that the parents was asking for. So it works very much on thought and and uh, and creating your destiny, creating your, and manifesting it into your destiny. However, certain things you cannot change within your body, but you can change it in the offspring. So this is what evolution is all about. It is about putting out the thought of a needed change within the species, within the body of that particular organism, and having it manifest in the next generation.
Thank you. The next question is from Anne. How can you tell if a family member has been reincarnated?
I am not quite sure what she means by the question. We are all reincarnated at one point or another.
Anne, can you unmute yourself and explain your question a little more?
Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was told that my mother has been reincarnated. And evidently, she wanted to come back this time as a man. My great grandson, who was born a year ago, has a lot of her traits. So I wasn't sure if she came back as him or not.
To answer your question, now that I understand what you are asking, certain people choose to they choose to come back really before they actually should, because in most cases it takes about what you would term 70 years in order before you reincarnate. But some people are desperate to come back for whatever reason and come back sooner. Sometimes they do come back within the family, and yes, you may recognize that that person has certain characteristics of, in this case, your mother. There may be certain qualities that are very similar in the child, as was with your mother. If this is the case, do not be surprised if, as the child grows, they start to express certain ideas that your mother had, certain experiences that your mother had. And if this is the case, you will have the evidence that you need that, yes, this is definitely your mother. It is it is within the realms of possibilities for this to happen. And also, the quicker someone comes back, the easier it is for them to have some memories of their past lives. And again, not all of them, because most of them do get erased when they come back into the physical body. But it is possible for certain things to bubble up, to certain memories to bubble up. It is certain at certain times an event might happen that reminds the soul of the same kind of event that happened when they were your mother, and therefore that idea bubbles up and may be expressed. So your answer is yes, it is possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can mute yourself again, Anne, please.
Okay.
Our next question is from Luvera. Will wearing stones or gems enhance spiritual awareness?
My friend, a lot of this answer to the question you're asking depends on you. If you have the belief that the stone is going to enhance your spirituality, then perhaps it just might, but it is not a requirement. You could do the same enhancement and without the stone. There is been a whole uh, bookload of folklore and theories about what a certain stone will do and won't do and how it can protect you and this and that. In reality, the stone is a stone, the crystal is a crystal. Yes, it has a frequency, yes, it has a vibration. When you hold a stone, does it alter your frequency? Yes, it alters your frequency slightly for a very short period of time. Will that have a long-term effect on you? Probably not. The way you think has a much more powerful long-term effect on your spirituality. And the fact that if you are living out your spiritual practices, if you're trying to achieve a spiritual life, that will affect your life much more than holding on to a stone.
Thank you. It appears that we have no further questions. I want to thank all of you that came through, Sydney, and helped us with all these questions. Thank you so much.
It is quite a experience to be able to be here and to be able to watch this happen because as you all already know, uh, the instrument and I had quite a history together, and for be able to watch him achieve this feat today brings so much joy to my heart. It is our hope that the answers that you have received will help you on your journey and help you and assist you to achieving the goals that you are setting before yourself. It is with such joy in my heart to be able to assist today, to be able to participate, and to witness this grand event.
Thank you, Carl. We love you and we thank you so much.
My blessings go to all of you, my friends, and I watch over you and I communicate with you, each and every one of you, on a regular basis. My love and blessings to you.
Thank you. It was great, Sid. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.